Morning, wherever you are, good afternoon where we're at. Today we're going to talk a little bit of philosophy. And it's Dr. Kyle from Holsbus Chiropractic. What we're going to talk about today is adaptation and about how challenges help us grow, accepting challenge in order to adapt, in order to change, in order to continue. And it'll talk about how the human body works and all that. Now, in order to get my point across, we're going to start with a little bit of history. So, Venice, Italy. Everybody, I think, has heard of Venice, Italy. And Venice is a city that's built on these islands in this lagoon off the eastern coast of Italy. And if we look at the history, it's only been around since 500 or 600 AD, and really in its current incarnation, even hundreds of years later. But there was nobody living on these islands. And then when the Roman Empire fell, at least the Western Roman Empire fell in 476 AD, there was no government anymore. And so the place split apart and there was nobody protecting the people in this area that became Venice or Veneto. And the barbarian tribes came down, the Lombard tribes came down, and they started to raid. Now, the people that were already there, they were on the coast, and of course they were used to fishing. They would go in the lagoon. It was protected from storms, but they farmed and they had the coast. Well, when these tribes came down, they had no protection, and so they took to the water. Well, what did they do? Well, they had this new challenge. They had nobody coming to protect them. There's no Roman military anymore. There's no central government anymore. So they said, we got to do our own. So everybody packed up that could make it. They got on boats and they went to the islands. Now, from the islands, they had protection from the barbarians, and then they were also able to create their civilization where everything worked on the water. And suddenly they have these new circumstances where they can adapt to survive. And so not only are they fishermen, not only are they sailors, but now everybody's learning to use a boat because those are the roads. And when we got to the Middle Ages and through the Dark Ages and into the Renaissance times, suddenly you had these churches built, and there's beautiful cathedrals that were built there. There's all these different areas they were able to construct, and they became a great naval power. They became a sea power. They were merchant traders because everybody could come through there because they controlled the water. So they found a new power that they didn't have. If the tribes had never come through, it's unlikely that Rome in its power would have ever really come and created that, because they had Constantinople. Well, even though Constantinople had that, even they gave in to the Venetians, because the Venetians adapted themselves and became such a great power that they were able to carve an area out of Constantinople just for them. Now, of course, power corrupts traditionally, and they did end up to a point where they went to a very high level and they fell. But the main point of the story is they had these incredible circumstances where I don't even know if we can imagine today, where we had a central government and a military and everything that protected us and kept our way of life, and it was gone. And it fell to different tribes coming in. And so taking that and saying, we're either going to be wiped out or we're going to figure out how to do it, they went and figured out how to do it. Now, why do I bring all that up? When we've gone through incredible circumstances, and when we have challenges that inspire us, or challenges where we don't have a lot of choice often, we find that's where we can dig in and we can find a little bit more and we can grow. Your body is designed to do all this. When we take your body through a challenge, and we give the challenge of, say, traction, we give the challenge of a schedule, we're trying to press your body in order to get to a point where it can adapt, it can change, and it needs to have a little stress to change. Stress is not necessarily a bad thing, it's more our perception of it. So when we're looking at challenges, especially in the last 2 years, I know people have gone through some incredible challenges. When I've spoken to many of you, what I've found is we've made these changes, we've adapted here. Life is going on. We've made some incredible achievements as far as healthcare, as far as different things we can look at in order to adapt as people and to a community, and in order to improve. And it's not that we need to be so concerned and so worried about these challenges. It's wiser for us to really look and say, okay, we can't avoid this challenge. How can we utilize it in order to grow? How can we utilize it in order to create greater expression of health? And just as the Venetians did 1600 years ago, they were able to take a great challenge and say, okay, we're going to take this, we're going to go over here, we're going to use the resources we have, we accept the challenge and we're going to do this. They probably did not even envision at the time that they were going to become this city, this culture, this community. 1,000 years later, they had such a great power up until really the time of the discovery of the Americas, that they controlled so much of commerce, even going all the way to India, because most of you don't know, maybe this is where Marco Polo came from, who brought the Silk Road over to the east. So which also created a challenge for the rest of Europe to go find the west, to find another route to India. So one thing begets another, and we end up where we have adaptation. And in chiropractic, the main thing we're trying to focus on by removing nerve interference, by getting the spine functioning well, by improving the structure of it all, is so we have greater efficiency and effectiveness to adapt. So when the challenge comes to us, we have the resources at hand in order to take it on, in order to grow. Because there's 5 signs of life. There's reproduction, there's assimilation, excretion, growth, and adaptation. We want to make sure we have all 5. To us, adaptation is the most important because that's going to allow all the others to work on the environment and the circumstances so we can take everything and use it to our advantage and continue on. Thank you for this time today, for having philosophy. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again in a few days.